As podcasters, our goals are constantly changing. We are adjusting as people, as business owners, as content creators, and it can feel really frustrating trying to figure out what is next for us. Today, we're talking with Stephanie, who is a fractional CFO, does bookkeeping, all of that financial fun stuff. And I'm saying fun with like bunny ears here because I get it. That stuff is not so fun. But today, we're talking about her podcast and how she's able to use her podcast as a way to create referral partnerships that grow her business. We're not just talking about leads, we're talking about being strategic with the things that we're doing with our business. And as podcasters who probably have a business, this is such an important part of growing your business and increasing your revenue, which is a win all around for everyone. All right, please join me in welcoming Stephanie to the podcast to talk all about her podcast, as well as some things you can do to increase and adjust your bottom line today. Welcome to Podcasting Unlocked, the show for purpose-driven podcasters. I'm Alesia Galati, founder of Galati Media, and I'm here to share actionable strategies to help you amplify your message and grow your audience. Hello, Stephanie. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. If you could start by telling everyone who you are, what you do, and a bit about your podcast.
My name is Stephanie Smith. I own my business with my husband. It's called New Light Financial Solutions. We offer outsourced CFO services and bookkeeping to small to medium-sized businesses. And we love that. But I have a podcast called Getting to the Bottom Line, where I talk about various things that impact a business's revenue, profit, and cash flow. Sometimes I'll have guests on as well to showcase the different things that impact people's bottom line.
Yeah, that's such an important topic that I think that people don't want to talk about sometimes, especially as like business owners. Like, I didn't get into business to do the finances. I didn't get into business to do like all that stuff. Got into business probably to be creative or to offer a service or to do something. So how are some ways that you're like making that little more, I don't want to say drier, because for you it might not be dry, right? But what some people might consider a little bit of a drier topic, how do you make that more entertaining for your listeners?
Oh man, what a great question. It's so true because we all start a business because we're doing something we love. And typically that's not finances. One of my superpowers that I like to say I have is taking complex things and making them easier to digest. I spent a long time in corporate doing that kind of thing. Honestly, I just try to break it down, make it real clear, give examples, stories. I struggle with the same thing in my own business because it is something that's hard to make entertaining. Numbers are numbers, and I do my best to try to keep things short and sweet so it isn't overwhelming, which is where I feel like most people end up.
How long are your podcast episodes?
Oh, so the podcasts themselves are about 20 minutes. I do that because it's a lot to listen to. I know for me, I just don't want to have them too long.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. When did you start your show?
I started it's probably a little over a year now. So I'm a year in.
Congratulations. That's incredible. Most people do not make it this far. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
When you were thinking about wanting to launch a podcast, what are some things that you were considering as you were like, all right, a podcast is the right next thing for me?
I should have probably considered more things before launching. To be completely honest, I was trying to grow my business and looking for opportunities to meet people. I wanted to grow my network. So the main reason I started my podcast was to meet other people that would be good referral partners or strategic partners, or honestly just grow my network of people. When I first started my podcast, I just had guests. I didn't have a lot of solo episodes because that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to grow my personal network, and it's been great. I've met a lot of great people. I've made friends and long-term connections that way.
That's good. And then you mentioned that now you have more solo episodes. Has your goal shifted as your podcast has progressed? Because I tend to see this a lot with podcasters where it's like, all right, I'm going to launch a podcast and then this is what I'm going to do with it. And a lot of people do go the guest route a lot just because hosting a solo show is a lot of work and can feel like, is anybody out there? Is anyone listening? And so it helps to have someone that you can bounce kind of conversation off of or talk things through with. So I definitely understand why people do that. But now that you've added in solo episodes, has that goal shifted where maybe it's something else now?
Yeah, actually, as I mentioned before, my initial goal was to grow my network, which has been great. And it's intimidating to put out solo episodes when you're just getting started. It shouldn't be, but I don't know, it is. I feel like we're all kind of sometimes have hard time putting ourselves out there. It is a lot easier to interview someone. It's easier for me to ask you questions so you can talk about it than it would be for me to just talk about myself. Over the past couple of months, I've decided I'm really looking for more exposure for myself and my business and what we do. I wasn't necessarily getting that with having the guests on the show where I'd talk about myself a little bit and I'd have my introduction. The focus was always on the guests. So my goal now is to have more solo episodes to talk about what we do and how we help our clients with the occasional guest episode in there as well to change things up a little bit.
Are there any things that you're doing differently to facilitate that goal? So,
Yeah.
like, for example, one thing that I did with this show is I now have one, I had too many guest interviews that I had recorded. So I'd batched like crazy and I had way too many guests. And so I was doing solo guest. But I found that I just needed to move some guests around to make it so I could get through them a lot quicker. So I moved my show to twice a week. And now, so Tuesdays are solo episodes. And I pulled episodes from there's a sister podcast attached to this one where it's me answering podcasting questions in 10 minutes or less. And so I pull those bonus episodes. So twice a month, the listeners get bonus episodes, minus while I've been sick, because then I have like more of those that I can put in. And then every month I record 2 solo episodes that are more relevant to like now, what's going on in podcasting, how to do these things, and then adding those in. But what I'm doing with those solo episodes is I do a lot more of the SEO strategy where it's like, all right, this one's going to be a full length blog post. I'm going to have it as a LinkedIn article. I'm going to put it all over my Pinterest, right? All of these like additional things that I'm doing. Are there any things that you're doing now that you're adding in more solos? And it's okay if you're not, right? Like that's okay too. But are there any things that you're doing additionally to kind of increase that visibility for yourself?
I feel like your strategy is a good one, and I should adapt. My stuff should be your strategy. I actually put out episodes every other week, and I've been
Okay.
debating about whether to move to weekly. It's a lot of effort, and I haven't been ready to make that move. I had someone on my podcast who talked about SEO, and he's like, "You really need to put your podcast on your website." He kind of guilted me, I guess, into redesigning my entire website on a different platform to host my podcast episodes. So now I do post my podcast episodes on the website to generate more traffic there. And I do try to take clips of the podcast and put that online. I'm not as good and consistent about doing that, but with the solo episodes, it's a lot easier to get clips of myself wanting to share my story. Not that it's bad for me to get clips of other people, but again, it's the visibility for myself that I'm looking for. So I do try to do that as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it is so I'm saying I do these things as someone who has a team, right? Yes, we produce about 10 shows a week for our clients, but I don't do my own shows because I know myself and I know that I will let all of those things fall through the cracks. So I'm like, do I really need it? It's my own stuff. Very similar to, I'm sure, how you feel about the finances of your business, right? Like having to do it for ourselves is just so stinking hard sometimes. And so I have my team handle my show because I know that I will be very lax in how I actually do the effort. But I'm like, all right, these are the things we need to do. Y'all handle it. Have fun. And then I will see you guys on the other side. So yeah, I totally understand that. So we met on Podmatch. It's a great software for finding guests and being a guest on people's podcasts. I also feel like that's also a great strategy for getting people to listen to your solo episodes as well. So you're doing that too. So kudos for that as well. Are there any other things that you're finding are working really well for, as a host, finding really quality guests? I know that Podmatch works great. I've been on there for years, but I'm always open to new ideas and new things that people are trying or different ways that they're maybe filtering people. So, if you have any tips or tricks, because I know finding quality guests can be such a hard thing for a lot of podcasters.
Yeah, and for me specifically, what the type of guest I was looking for wasn't just anyone with a story to tell. I really wanted my focus as someone who has a business that does something that impacts someone's bottom line. And there was always tons of marketing people reaching out to me because it's in that bucket. But Podmatch was great actually to fill that line. And it's been a really great resource to find guests in that world. I also use my podcast as a way to grow a partnership or strategic partner. So if I meet someone that I'm like, I would love to make a better connection with them, then I offer them a guest spot on my podcast as a way to be, as a reciprocation. I'd love to grow your visibility. We can give you something. So I use it for that as well. And it's been very good to find other people that if I'm just networking, this would be a great story if it fits into the genre of what I'm looking for. That's the only other way that I've found guests for the podcast.
Yeah, those referral partnerships, I think, is such an underutilized strategy for using your podcast to generate revenue. So many people, they come to the idea of like, I have to have ads or I have to have sponsorships. And it's like, or let's make this easier. Use the connection that you make with your guests as a connection, a collaborator, or a client, right? Like any way that when they think of, oh, I know someone who needs what Stephanie has, then they think of you first. And by having them on your show, by staying connected with them, creating some type of referral partnership, then you're going to be the first one because one, they know they're going to probably get something back in return, especially if it's like some type of referral partnership where there's a financial benefit for them, right? There's always that extra added bonus, but they already know you, like you, and trust you. And then the person that they're referring is like, oh, well, I trust this person's opinion. So that's awesome. Let's go ahead and move them over to Stephanie. And I think that it's such a great, great strategy that not a lot of people use. So I
Yeah.
think what you're doing is great.
One of my first guests on my podcast, she is an expert in sales. And she said that to me. She's like, I can't tell you how many podcasts I've been on as a guest, and no one ever follows back up with me again afterwards. And it's like, it's such a missed opportunity just to even form connections or find collaborations, is just reaching back out and staying connected with people that you've already had on your show and you had some form of relationship with them just by doing what we're doing right now.
Yes. And it's not too late. So for listeners who are like, oh, I have not been doing that at all. If you're coming up on a milestone episode, 50, 100, 150, 200, whatever, if you're coming up on one of those milestone episodes, reach back out to your guests and let them know. Let them know that they were part of the journey. Let them know that you're celebrating. Here's some assets to celebrate with me, some graphics or some copy that they can easily copy and paste, but it's going to bring you back into their sphere, and even like tagging them on like a LinkedIn post. So here are the incredible people. Here's everyone from season one. And then list 10 people that were really great and what they talked about, and just making those connections, I think, is such an easy way, which like I don't think that people have to do it every week. It could literally just be, hey, these are the ones that I did this month. Here are the ones I did this quarter. Here are the 50 people that I had on this show.
That's
So
a
yeah.
great idea. I should do that for myself.
So let's get into more of what you do when it's, our listeners, they're podcasters, most likely business owners, or maybe they're trying to use their podcast to generate net revenue. What are some things that we should be considering when we are looking at our bottom line?
Yeah. So my company, we look at 16 drivers of revenue, profit, and cash flow. We really try to figure out what's working, what's not working, so we can set goals and make changes and change your cash flow. I like to say what we do is if you ever take your car into the shop and you do a multi-point inspection, they give you that scorecard that's like red, yellow, green, what you need to focus on right now and what you don't. So we do that same kind of thing for our clients. And I would say in the podcasting space, if you're using it for lead generation, that's great. We have 5 drivers specifically around revenue. And I think a lot of business owners, just in general, just say, I need more revenue, and they think I need more leads so I can get more sales. So one of the things I like to talk about, it can be beyond just I need more leads, right? Other drivers that we look at is maybe you need to increase your conversion rate. Like your story that you're telling isn't that good. But if you can improve your story and get more of the same number of people to buy from you, then that's an easy way to increase your revenue right there. And podcasting is a great way to do that, right? Because you can get your message out there. Another one that we look at is how much people are spending with you. So your average sales transaction values. You can have the same number of people buying from you, but if you increase your prices or you bundle or you offer an upsell or you do something to increase that amount that they're spending with you, then that's another easy way to improve your revenue and make more money. I think too, a lot of the conversations I've had is people don't always know everything that you do. So reminding people or coming back and going back to people that have purchased from you in the past and saying, hey, I also offer this other thing. Would that be of service to you? And you can get people to purchase either again from you, which is another driver that we have, is how often people are buying from you. Or if you're bundling things up front, then you're making more money just up front. So one of the things I like to say is that it's not all about leads. It's not all just about leads. There's a lot of other ways to impact your revenue. And then we do also look at things from a profit perspective, which is more of your expenses, right? We want to save on expenses. My biggest tip is look at all the subscriptions you've signed up for and see if you're actually using them
Yeah.
because we put them on auto pay and then forget about them. Just like your personal finances, we do it in business too. So taking a look at what's impacting what's coming out of your business can make a big difference to your bottom line. But those are just a couple of things right there.
I love that you mentioned leads because I think that you're right. So often, as business owners, especially small business owners, we're typically a team of 1 to 5, and we're constantly like, I need more leads. I need more leads. I need more leads. I need to be in front of more people. What if you said at the end of the year, we send out a annual review of the podcasts we manage. Here are your stats. Here's what we're anticipating for next year. Here's where we think podcasting is going in the next year, strategies to think about as we move through that. And so one of the things that we looked at was how can we offer better services that don't just increase the value for new clients that are coming in, that we can really just provide excellent quality value. So one of those was like, I wanted to create a dashboard that we could look at those stats on a monthly basis rather than just waiting till the end of the year. And there were certain things I was like, I'm not getting the data I need and I need to get more. So let me find a way to be able to easily see that on a regular basis. And by doing that, one, it let our clients know, hey, we care about you. And no, we're not necessarily increasing your prices, but we care about where your podcast is going and we're increasing the value of the services that we offer. But then also saying, hey, one of the things that we know just from podcasting for many, many years is that guesting on podcasts is a great strategy. With something like Podmatch, it's a lot easier to manage. I don't like managing people's pitching because they tend to be so terrible. Like the idea of having to follow up, and also it's not something I can control. Don't like that. So I did it initially when I started my business, but with something like Podmatch, sure, I could offer that as a service since now Podmatch has like the agency side where you can have multiple clients on there. Anyway, moving on. So I thought, let me see if this is something that my current clients would be interested in. And so I sent them each an email that said, here are the new things that we're implementing. Yay for you, like freebies. And here are some services that we're considering. Here's the pricing that we're associating with that. Would any of these be of interest to you? And so from there, we were able to upsell 2 of our clients who were like, I have someone else doing that, but your price makes more sense. You're already managing most of it. Let me just have you do it, which then increased our monthly revenue. So that was a quick and easy way to say, I don't necessarily need more leads. I just need to remind people about all of the services that we do offer so then I can increase that monthly revenue.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So you did exactly what we would ask people to do. And potentially, if you're looking for more revenue, there's a couple of low hanging fruit that you can just reach back out and say, hey, I also do these things. I love that. It improved your bottom line immediately, and it wasn't that much extra work, just reaching back out. Awesome. I love it.
Yes. Quick wins all around. That's what we want. And I think that so often people think that a podcast is like a quick and easy way to make money. It's not, I promise you. It's really not. So finding other ways to be more inventive or just more strategic, get outside of our heads, work with someone like you who can really help us see the bigger picture, I think is so, so important. So if someone's like, I kind of need help with these things, what are some things that you offer, whether it's freebies or courses or working one on one with you, with your company? What does that kind of look like to work with you?
Yeah, so we do offer some services provided for you. We offer bookkeeping, so that's one thing if you're looking for support on the book side. But we do offer the advisory services, which is what I was talking about, where we really dive in to your books, see what's working, not working, and we'll help you on a monthly basis to meet your goals strategically based on data, not necessarily just throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping that something happens. Those are our main services that we provide. I do have a freebie that talks about the 16 drivers that we look at, and you can find that on our website. It's newlightfs.com/drivers. I do also have a course on cash flow that'll give you some quick tips on how to improve your cash flow as well. It's an email course. It's 5 days, but it's my website as well, newlightfs.com/cash flow. And I'll just throw out that we have a newsletter too. So if you're looking for tips again, that you can find all of these things on our website. But we would love to help and have conversations. Our goal is just to see businesses succeed because so many of them fail. And a lot of the reason why is due to poor cash flow management.
Yeah, it's so important. Thank you so much, Stephanie. If people want to get to know you on social media, what's your preferred platform? And if you're listening on your podcast app, go check out Stephanie's podcast as well. Get a feel of the solo episodes. If you want to get a little more of her, where can people find you on socials?
My main platform is LinkedIn. I would say just go look for me, but I am a Smith, so I am challenging to find. But it's almost easier to just go to the website and find me there. But you can try to find me online on LinkedIn, Stephanie Smith, or through the business, New Light Financial Solutions.
Awesome. And we will have links for all of that in the show notes and the YouTube description for anyone who is running around doing other things. We've got you. You can check the links in the show notes to connect with Stephanie further. Thank you so much, Stephanie. This has been a blast.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a great conversation.